Hospitality and welcome is absolutely throughout the entire Bible. It's not a nice to have, it's an expectation. It's an expectation absolutely throughout. And so while some of us might find that we're natural at it, and some of us find that we're not natural at it, it is something that we are all called to do, regardless of where we are or how much we have. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have some time in discussion rather than me talking about this, because I find that when I talk about hospitality, people approach it in such wonderfully different ways. I have not got all the answers on this. And so I find it really helpful to talk to other people. So what you will see is kind of scattered around and about are little leaflets like this with a few discussion questions. And I would really encourage you to kind of team up with some people around you. Don't just stick to the one person you might know, okay? Team up with some people around you and find out from them, how did they deal with hospitality? How did they deal with being welcoming? What do they find difficult? Let's encourage one another. There's loads of Bible verses on there as well. So please do. And I'm going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes to do this. Whilst you're doing that, kids, because we like to hear your opinions on this as well. So we want you to be part of this discussion. But also, I'm looking for some people who want to be welcoming and welcoming enough to decorate some biscuits for other people. Not for yourself, for other people. I promise we have hand sanitizer, everybody. They will be clean. But over at this table, while some people are discussing, I'm going to lead a biscuit decorating session. We do have allergy-free stuff as well for those of you who have allergies, so please do let us know. So please come and join in there. But I'm going to give you about 10, 15 minutes. And let's come up. I want to hear feedback, different ideas of when were you felt welcomed, or how have you done it, or how have you struggled with it? And then we can have some feedback as a church. Okay, go for it. Has anyone got anything to share? I would love to hear some inspiring stories or some honest struggles. I like both of those. Just put your hand up and I'll run to you. Put your hand up and I'll run to you. Anyone? Inspiring story. Oh, yay. Thanks.
So in our group, Becky made the really good point. So we'd sort of chatted through all the questions, and then right at the end, which is we probably should have talked about this at the beginning, but like Becky made the really good point that it has to start with Jesus and the love of Jesus. Because if we start with sort of trying to drum up more energy to be able to be more hospitable, and then that flows into loving Jesus more, that's not how it works. So you need to start with Jesus, and then from that love that we receive from him, that'll flow out and be more hospitable to others. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. That was my sum up. You've just done it for me. Well done. That was great. Okay, Abby.
I made a poem.
Okay, so Abby's got a poem about Jesus. So if you want to come and read that a bit later, feel free to come and have a chat with her about that. That's fantastic. Any other things on hospitality? Inspiring stories? Nothing. This is not filling me with hope here, guys. Okay, here we go.
It's not so much an inspiring story, but it's more of a struggle. Yeah. So it's been a while, but when I have people around at my flat, I'm constantly thinking about whether they're enjoying it, about whether they're enjoying the food, enjoying the conversation, whether they've got something to drink, whether they're enjoying themselves. And it takes the enjoyment out of being hospitable. So I think really it's just a case of, like Hannah said, starting with Jesus and making him your starting point, sort of overarching umbrella, and then everything else just flows from there.
Brilliant, thank you. I know I felt like that, and it's so important, isn't it, to release ourselves of pressure. Becky, yay, go for it. Oh, keep going.
We were talking about how sometimes the best hospitality is when you're so relaxed that you don't tidy up, and you just leave everything just as is of what you're doing in your life at that moment, and then you're most relaxed in your hospitality then, because being able to have people come into your house in whatever state of chaos it's in, actually sometimes when you receive hospitality like that, you feel like, well, I could come to someone's house if I needed to at any moment, and they won't be like, oh, I've got to tidy everything and hoover and move. You feel like you would be able to go to their house whatever state. And I think also I found it really nice when you're in someone's house and you just feel like you're a part of the family. So, you know, you might pick up the tea towel together and have a chat in the kitchen afterwards while you're clearing up, and you feel more like family than you do feel like a visitor that's sitting neatly in the corner in a tidy little space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Hospitality is not a 3-course meal. It's not anything perfect, is it? It's just being with each other.
I think for myself, like looking back to when I was younger, like my parents, and they very much had like an open door policy. So it wasn't a case of go out and get everything ready. It was if someone came round, they were there and they hosted, and it was kind of mucking. It wasn't a special occasion, and I think, like you just said, Becky, it's kind of warts and all kind of thing, and it's just being part of the family, and that's often when people need it most, that open door and just, yeah.
Thank you. And that is just showing, that's just a little image, isn't it, of God's family as well. You know, us just opening our hearts, opening our houses is going, this is what it's like to be part of the family of Jesus. And that's a really important thing for people to see. I've got hands coming up. Yay, this is so good.
Yeah, I have to agree with Becky. The most easy I've found with people is when you go into a house and it seems as if to them it's clean, but it doesn't have to be tidy, you know, and it's so relaxing. You feel like you're just one of the family and you feel so accepted.
Brilliant, thank you. Helen had a hand up over there. Oh, this is getting my steps in today.
It was a number of years ago now. Andy and I were living in Wales, and we just moved, didn't really know anyone, and started going to a new church. And a couple invited us back to their house for Sunday dinner, and they basically did that every week. They just made a huge roast and looked for a couple of people to invite back for dinner, and like the roast would stretch for an extra few people, so it didn't really, they were obviously just prepared and able to invite who seemed in need at the time. But it meant a lot to us because we didn't know anyone there. It was quite a big church. I'm not the best at small talk. I'm very much just saying hello, right, where's the toilet, please? So it was really really helpful, and we obviously got to know them, and then a few other people that they'd invited as well. So yeah, it was a huge blessing to us that they did that.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope you've been encouraged. Just something that happened a bit last minute last night that we wanted to share is we literally put a fire pit on our driveway, messaged all the neighbours and said, who wants to come for sparklers and brownies? And they came. And then we were like, oh, we should do like a carol singing thing with mince pies on our driveway. They were like, yeah, that sounds great. And literally our effort was kind of like, Elliot lit a fire and I bought some sparklers. That was they didn't even come into our house. And we just sat watching everybody else's fireworks that we hadn't paid for. You know, but it really was minimal effort. And so I think we're not saying you've got to go out there and do sort of amazing things. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you feel called to do, go for it. But actually, for so many of us, this is just being open to Jesus prompting us. And so what I want to do now is we're going to sing another song, but as a prayer. And this song is asking God to be with us in every step that we take. And as you're singing this song, can I really encourage you to be asking God to put someone on your heart who he wants you to be welcoming to this week. And that might just be going for a walk with them. It might be having them over for a meal. It might be having them to stay for a night. Who knows what it is? But let's pray that as we sing this final song together.